For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
So are we just going with it now?
Straight in.
Just like, so it's pure content.
It's 100% content, 100% of the time.
No bullshit.
None.
Right. Well, I mean,
discounting this bit, which I guess.
Yeah.
But from now, 100% content.
so people, they will have
you
listened.
fucked that because I said from now it's going to be 100%.
This is content.
Oh, no, it's not. You've
Oh, okay,
misunderstood.
sorry, go on then. You show me.
Well, ho, here we are back again for another That's a Shame Wednesday episode of content.
This is lies.
It's the way you do it as much as what you're talking
It's the
about.
97th episode.
I know. God, imagine that. 97. What an age to reach.
It's, yeah.
Prestigious.
I'd be pretty gutted
What, to reach the age of 97?
and then not reach 100.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fucking dreadful.
It'd be an absolute
I'd be
piss take.
furious on my deathbed. My last words would just be,
Come on!
come on, life.
Yeah. But
here
yeah,
we are.
we're trying a sort of thing, aren't we, where we're not going to do the proper introduction.
Yeah, it's going well, I've noticed.
Yeah, well,
All minute
you
of
can't
it so
you
far.
can't just launch into that. You've got to at
Can you
least
not?
the first time.
Because I've heard some podcasts do just start with like, do. I was there on the horizon watching this true crime
Yeah, I
take
don't listen
place.
to any of those.
Do-do. No, me
'Cause they're
neither.
poor.
Do you remember that time, just as a brief aside, when we were doing research for this show? And by we, I think I mean me. And I downloaded one episode of the top 100 podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still not finished because so many of them are so objectionably bad.
Hmm.
They're all basically the same show, but you take out the nouns and you maybe adjust the meter of like how funny they think it is when a young woman gets murdered.
Oh,
basically
right. And
the
that's
top
the
50
only,
at
yeah.
least.
It's just a slide rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's basically the whole thing. So, I mean, let's not do quite
No.
that level of intro, but now I feel we've warmed people up. They're
Yeah.
back in the mood. That's a cross
Back
between
in the mood.
mood and nude, I'm afraid. Back in the mood.
A moody new.
And here we go. Why don't you introduce today's content piece?
Well,
one of
interestingly,
two.
we already introduced it, did we not?
Yeah, what I meant was reintroduce.
Okay, yeah, well, you didn't really specify.
I thought
that.
it was
don't-
implied.
And because I was going to start by saying we introduced, like, we teased this bit of content on Sunday.
That's pretty professional to tease things.
Exactly. It shows foresight.
It does.
So this is what we're calling, because that's what it's called, the Disney 4.
Wow. And will there be a special Disney jingle?
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. Cool.
Were you just waiting?
Let me just put a note there.
Okay.
Jingle not found.
Yeah, so on Sunday we mentioned that friend
Yeah.
of the show and
FOTS.
super cont.
A FOTS. He's a FOTS. A
friend of the show and super cont. Fotsas.
Yeah, that's
That
him.
sounds dreadful. That's
One of them
definitely a
Fotsas.
slur in one language. Kangaroo, he had partaken in, and he was, interestingly, the only
Very
person
ahead
I've
of the
seen
curve. Oh,
on
no.
my
It's
Twitter.
blown up on mine now.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, there are a bunch, but I'm kind of embroiled in Disney Twitter, so
Oh, of course,
it was
yeah.
bound to happen sooner or later. But
Yeah.
he was very much on the early adopter list.
Yes, so he took part in this trend called the hashtag Disney4, and it's that you post 4 images, because that's the maximum that Twitter will allow you for one tweet, and also it's a nice,
It is a pleasant-
round number, isn't it? It gives that nice little windowed shape.
Yeah, a window, you could say, into your soul.
Exactly. I was hoping you were going
Yeah,
to pick
no,
up
and
on
I
that.
did, I did.
Ball that I kind of tossed up very easily.
And then
for
I
you.
caught it because it was a bit of a bad throw without much setup. I caught it and I sort of roped it in, swung it straight back.
Only a bad throw because
for
you
an ace.
often aren't paying attention. But anyway, what these 4 pictures are pictures of Disney characters
Yeah.
from any of Disney's plethora of media. And franchises, different animation styles,
Yeah.
and they represent who you are, who you believe yourself to be, who you relate to, and generally just the big moods.
Yeah, the 4 big moods or defining characteristics. Some between the cracks of those 4 images lies some amalgam of your personality swimming through that veiny gap. Yeah.
Okay. So what we said we would do was we'd prepare 4 our own Disney 4s,
Yeah.
but then also prepare a 4 for the other, because often what you think of yourself isn't necessarily
Weird.
what others think of you. And so I'm sure there'll be at least maybe one crossover.
I doubt that.
But it'll be an interesting insight, and so basically we'll end up with at most a Disney 8.
And that will be, well, I think I'll probably violently object to most of the ones you've chosen for me.
That doesn't mean that they don't still apply.
But no, because what we choose is how, you remember when Harry put on the hat,
right?
And it goes, "Hello, Harry," with this voice. You remember it?
Yeah.
Hello, Harry. You want to try Slytherin on for size? And he's like, "Fucking hell, do I? Slytherin only killed my mum and dad." And the hat's like, "Oh, don't worry about that, Harry. You can have lots of fun in the potions lab." Objectively the worst of the 4 common rooms because it's
definitely.
a creepy dank hell.
It's
Think
really
of the
awful,
spiders
isn't
and the
it?
damp.
The damp is like just the smell.
I had so much black mold in my second year uni house, and I didn't live in anything approaching
You live
a
near the
dungeon.
roof.
Fuck,
That's
I
the
did.
opposite.
Oh god, I can only. Maybe that's why they were all act out. Is all of the lung rot.
Well, what I get your point though. I get that.
What I was saying was, it's what we choose.
Yes,
to
but
act
as you
is
will
what
remember,
defines us.
as both the Sorting Hat himself says to Harry later, and as many other characters, wise characters, make
like
clear,
Dumbledore, the wisest.
make clear to him is that
If this were
Slytherin
Harry Potter 4, that would be one of mine. Albus
that-
Dumbledore.
you could be Aberforth, his brother.
Oh no, I'm alright for fucking a goat. Canonically.
Is that Slytherin would have been just as right for him,
And yet,
and so
even
that
more wrong.
still applies.
Yeah.
so
the jury's out.
so
is what
you're
we're
saying I can reject the ones you pick
can.
for me?
You
Yeah.
can, yeah. Yeah, you
thank you.
can. I mean, are you picking up on the
Oh, and
intonation?
will, you mean?
You can if you want, but...
Okay, so what I thought is maybe we should start, make ourselves vulnerable by going through what we've got for ourselves.
And should we alternate?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's a nice...
Okay.
Alternating is a big theme of this show. It
is.
As much as 97 episodes could be boiled down
because we
into a
don't,
theme.
neither of us wants to be a hog.
No.
And I mean,
Oh,
all right.
interesting you should mention.
Yeah, I wondered. Yeah, and although you had basically a whole episode to yourself the other day,
I had a lot to
I don't
relate,
really,
yeah.
I don't begrudge you.
Why
that.
would you? Why would you? It's pure content.
Uh,
Do you want to kick it off then?
Shall I kick it off
Yeah, why
with
not?
with who
Your
I've got for me?
first one for you. So this is Declan giving us here an insight into how he perceives
Now,
himself.
here's another question. Are we going to go in any particular order with how we say them?
I've ordered mine according to what I think cuts to the core. So my early ones are perhaps more superficial, or maybe there are specific traits with which I align. Whereas my final one is that is me.
Okay.
Also, we should mention that we've taken Disney to include. You alluded to it, but just to be explicit, yeah.
Live action.
I didn't go as far as Marvel, but even if I had, I don't identify with any of those creeps, those super creeps.
That's interesting. I'll identify someone with you, but we won't worry about it. I haven't included any.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to kick off then with. I'm going with Hades.
Hades from Hercules.
From Hercules.
Hercules, as I heard someone say, unfortunately, in a podcast.
Isn't it a shame? Like, I mean, I think one Greek and one Roman, but people who use Heracles.
Oh, wow.
That's such
Come
a
on.
shame, isn't it? Imagine if Disney had done that.
Disney's Heracles. That
It's
would've
just
been
such
I would not have gone
an
to see it.
objectively worse name.
It is worse. Okay, talk us through it.
Well,
Is it because, let me just cut in, because you identify a lot with James Wood's political and kind of interpersonal beliefs?
what I'm going to do, I'm going to nip this in the bud
Okay,
right
good,
here and
'cause it was
say
a bit of an elephant in the
definitely
room.
not. James Woods is one of those ultimate travesties where it is one of my favourite performances, certainly voice performances.
In anything.
But simultaneously, he is such an unfathomable cunt.
Yeah, a real monster
Like,
of a man.
From hour to hour, minute to minute, he's just getting worse.
He's whiny. He's like, he both baits and takes the bait online. He's just an idiot.
He is horrid.
Great at voicing Lord of the Underworld Hades.
Fantastic.
Very good indeed.
Now, there's a couple of reasons that I picked him.
Yeah, let's get into it.
One, very superficial. It's the whole fire hair thing.
That is sick, isn't it? And now
see?
his was blue and you've gone for the red one.
I've gone for red.
Kind of a Pokemon split there. Sun and Moon.
Exactly. But, they're both good.
Yeah.
although red's obviously better.
Well,
You know,
who's to say is what I'll throw out. Yeah.
But
I mean, it's for everyone to decide on their own why blue is called.
yeah, well, they do get that opinion, but that doesn't mean they're right.
Yeah,
well, they-
doesn't mean they're, wrong. But carry on. So the hair, either
Yeah,
way.
and as a ginger person, and certainly as someone now with very tall, kind of wavy hair,
People call you Firehead a
I
lot.
have had that for a lot of my
People on the
life, yes.
street shout Firehead.
Yep.
Firehead, Firehead. And people pretend to call 999.
It's kind of ever since Ed Sheeran became big, that's really taken over from Firehead. But that used to be a common one. But you know what? I relate.
Flame Scalp as well, another classic. Ginger insult.
Oh no, that one was
insult.
that one was only ever you. And
Oh, right. Well, that wasn't
was
hurtful.
far too frequent. But more than that, is that I feel a little bit sorry for Hades. I know he's a villain, but you've always got to empathise a bit with the villains.
Well, yeah, and Hades in particular, like in the same way as Judas and Lucifer, he has a very specific. It's kind of without his villainy, the world is thrown out of balance. So there's a real empathy I can extend to our Bluehead.
And also, you get the feel that he kind of got the rough side of the deal, given that his brother is Zeus,
Yeah, now that's going to show you up because he's very good.
and he
at
gets
a lot
to
of stuff.
rule everything.
Yeah.
and he's pretty handsome,
And he lives at the top of a mountain.
and he lives in a really nice place.
Have you seen what he can do with clouds? He can fashion them into all kinds
He
of
can
shit.
make him into a flying, living, breathing
Baby
horse.
pony flyer.
What I want to know is, does he ever accidentally do that?
make
he
an
swipes a
abomination?
cloud and it's like he has to
insectoid.
thunderbolt in. That's why Hades hates him.
That's
He's
what
just always
wasps
getting
came
the
from.
souls of these horrid monsters coming down.
Did you ever play the game Spore?
No,
Have you heard of it even?
no.
So it's Will, what's his name? The guy, Maxis, who made The Sims. And his idea was a noble endeavour. And it was, what if you could simulate in a whole game this life from,
Evolution. I have
from
heard
the
of this. Yeah,
microbial level. So you'd create these. I don't know if you create the microbes or you latch onto them, but basically there's a whole section of the game is battling these microbes to kind of consume other cells and generate life from there. Then you become a kind of more advanced, fishy little lad. And then fast forward, you become a creature on land without a shadow of a doubt. Every one of them are pure, unfettered abomination. And really the game seemed to be, despite showing you a kind of broad strokes view of evolution, in showing you the end product, it was basically saying this cannot have happened because everything it creates can't walk. It's all eyes. It's just 80% flobbing around trying to get. It was hideous.
Well, maybe that's why, the process did take billions of years in real life. And I know you have in-game time, but there's only so much you can process.
That's true.
I read through one of those a real tangent, but, and yet somehow I find them really haunting analogies yesterday about the number of different ways to shuffle a deck of cards.
Oh, yeah. It's loads, isn't it?
Well,
what is it, 20?
It's too many.
Yeah.
The example that they gave was, imagine you could shuffle a deck of cards
I can.
once every second.
I can't. Sorry, I jumped in too soon with I can.
So it's thousands of times a day.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's say you shuffle it all day for 24 hours. And then,
Am I being paid to?
sadly, you're not. But
a
also,
short
it's in a world where you don't have any hunger, thirst, and there's no one else.
Cool.
So it's all right.
Depressing, yeah.
Got lots of time to yourself. You like that.
Yeah.
So every 24 hours, you take one step.
Uh-huh.
And then you stand still and you shuffle cards all day. And after 110,000 years,
Oh,
you'll have circumnavigated the globe.
cool.
Okay. So now you're going to keep doing this. And every 110,000 years, you're going to take a 250ml glass of water out of the Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
Just fuck it onto the land or something. I don't know what happens with it.
I'll drink
Evaporates.
it, if that's all
Okay,
right.
yeah, drink it. Yeah, go for it.
Can I use any to wash my hair and face?
Yeah, if you want.
That's
whatever
good.
you want. As long as you don't put it back in the ocean.
What about moistening the cards?
Absolutely fine.
Good.
As long as you leave the cards intact.
Yeah, but you need a moist deck to shuffle. That's why the croupier
Yeah, that's why they
always
often butter
lick
them
the
up.
palm
Yeah.
and then shuffle.
And so you keep doing this, and every time you get round the globe every 110,000 years. You take that glass of water out of.
I'd
the
be
Pacific
looking forward
Ocean,
to that day
you drink
so
it.
much.
I know.
That'd
Yeah,
be-
I like at about 70,000 years, you'd be like,
here it
we're more than
comes."
halfway. So after 313 quadrillion years,
Oh, okay.
you'll have emptied the Pacific Ocean.
Well,
So what you do then, and this is where I'm sad to say that you can't actually drink it, I've just remembered. You fuck it all back into the Pacific Ocean.
okay.
And what you do, you put one piece of paper down on the floor. Mm-hmm. And then you repeat the process. And every 313 quadrillion years,
Yeah.
when you've emptied the Pacific Ocean, you put another sheet of paper down.
Oh, God.
And when that sheet of paper reaches the moon,
Yeah.
that pile, you take it all down and you go again. And when you've done that and reached the moon 1 billion times, you're 0.000000001% of the way to shuffling a deck of cards as many ways as you can.
So what you're saying is we need to ban cards and we need to ban them now.
What I'm saying
They
is
know
that
too much.
it haunts me to think that, like, you could just carry that in your pocket. Like, it's just a fucking deck of cards.
Yeah.
And yet you could
Isn't it
spend...
depressing that we'll never... I hate that I'll never see every combination. I can't tell you how furious... Like, I'm gripping my own knees in anger.
Not even that you won't see every combination. You won't see...
Stop!
It's not even
I don't
worth
want to hear it,
knowing.
Hades, okay?
See?
So what you're saying is you have a propensity for numerical torture, and that was probably what Hades was going to express.
Yeah. No, what I was going to say was that, you know, he gets the rough deal being Zeus's brother and all. But also, he has a pretty good
Just
plan.
a second, rough deal would have been a good little card pun segue for us in future.
Okay,
About,
we can go back
yeah,
and edit, get that in
that's cool.
post, yeah. He has a pretty good plan.
Yeah.
Like having that bottle of formula that turns you mortal
Really
just hanging
good.
around in that
Yeah.
enormous hall is pretty handy, like in case you ever need that.
One issue is his choice of sidekick. I don't know that they were up to scratch.
No, that is true. But then again, they were only supposed to be fighting a baby, so...
Fighting, were they? They have to fight
Well, they
the
do
baby.
kind of fight it, don't they? They
Oh,
wrestle
yeah,
it
they
out
do.
of its crib.
Because they don't expect him to be as strong. He strangles that one, doesn't he? The spindly one.
Turns
He
it
looks
in
like,
when it's a snake.
looks like nervousness from inside out, wherever he is.
Yeah,
Anxiety.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, he gets so close. It's just one drop away. And because of that one drop, his whole plan's fucked.
Yeah.
And he sends loads of good monsters and he has like
Really
loads
good.
of good plans and whatnot. And he's pretty cool. Like the way he moves, he's pretty powerful himself.
Now, of course, there is one real upside to Hades' life, which is that he owns the soul of Meg, the best Disney character there is,
He does.
in terms of who you'd marry. Were you? an
Well,
animated
yes,
character.
exactly. Yeah. So, you know, I feel a bit sorry because he has a good plan. He's got good
Very
ideas,
patient.
but shit always goes wrong for him. And I identify
You
with
can
that.
identify with that.
Yeah.
What about the fact that he doesn't get a song? Now, that's always worried me about Hercules.
I assumed it's because James Woods
snarled his way out of the booth.
Yeah.
Do you think they had like a whole orchestra ready and he just stepped up
Hmm.
and started going, "Mwah," and they were like, okay, cancel that.
I only found out today that Phoebus originally had a song in Hunchback
Hmm.
and Alan Menken did the vocals for it.
Yeah,
But then they cut it.
yeah, there are quite a few really good cut songs from Hunchback, one of which forms a very major musical theme. It doesn't make a lot of sense without it, but don't worry about it.
We watched it today.
Did you? Good choice.
film.
It is good.
So yeah, I'm going with Hades as number one. What about you?
My number one is the robot Wall-E from the film Wall-E.
That's really interesting. Wally
is.
was one that I had on my shortlist for you.
Nice, that's good to hear.
Now tell us in your own words.
So I guess I've put him at the top of the list because obviously, well, not obviously, but I'm going to reveal to you now for perhaps the first time, certainly on air, that I'm not a robot yet. Now that's a big yet, and I'm
No, but
looking
we
into ways
do
to
all
kind
know
of
that you want to be.
circumvent that problem. But so there are only superficial similarities, but here are some of the ones I noted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Wall-E, he's the last of his kind left on the planet, and I think that's something I can really get on board with. Now, what I'm saying is not that I want it, because Wall-E
Wow,
didn't want that.
you've turned Wally's tragedy somehow into your own
Turn that
narcissism.
frown upside down. You're right. What I'm saying is...
Not the last of his kind, just unique.
Yeah, That's what I'm going for.
Yeah,
I'm saying I
no,
wouldn't.
no, we all
I'm
knew
saying
that's
I'm
what
not
you were going
willing
for.
the situation, but should it arise that I am the only one, like I could get on with it. That's all right. I'd be willing to.
Well, that's why I chose you for shuffling the deck of cards, because I
That's
know
nice.
that you'd have the patience to do it.
And I do
And also,
like-
like you said, you couldn't stand the fact of not being able to know them all.
Exactly. It combines my two poetic burdens.
Of course, actually, it would. I wonder how far through you get before you realised that you weren't actually getting to see any of the shuffles you'd done.
That's fine, because as long as I was there for it.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's just one
it's
hell
just
of
a
a
real.
party.
It's just the ultimate mathematical FOMO.
Gotta see them. So yeah, there's that aspect, certainly. I do like, as you say, I not admire, but I appreciate characters who are resolutely alone in fiction, and also ones who are resolutely alone through extra knowledge. So like Dumbledore is very isolated by knowing the whole problem around Harry being a little fucking Horcrux.
Yeah.
I like that. And I feel like
what
Wally had
knowledge
that.
do you have that sets you apart from the rest of
Well, I
us?
can't tell you, because otherwise that would fuck the whole thing up, wouldn't it? But let me just say
Right.
this: I've shuffled a bunch of cards.
You won't believe number 1743
Blow
quadrillion.
your mind. So there's that, and I think whilst Wally, doesn't delve into that, certainly he's carrying on when no one else was willing to do so, and that's admirable.
He was willing to cube all the trash that there was.
Because that's my second one. I'm a big fan of recycling and
Yeah,
the
no, you're an
environment in general.
environmentalist, yeah.
And I think the message of Wally is one that I can get behind. I also like that he is able to shine a light on other people's failings.
Would you have been tempted to eat that plant?
Not when I was robified.
No.
In my current state as a plant-eating
Would you have been a
maniac,
bit like,
I'd have downed it, soil and all.
yeah,
I'd have pushed that beautiful apple.
last thing you'd have eaten would have been a fillet of fish, and you'd be like, fuck, I need to erase this
that
mistake.
out. Yeah, I'd have downed that plant straight from the stem. He likes animals. He's friends with that little cricket cockroach guy. He's a cockroach, not a cricket. And I think that's nice. He looks after him in a way that really belies his fundamentally metallic heart, which, you don't get to see in the film, but there is a deleted, a surgical outtake that I really recommend.
Yeah.
And he's a big fan of Hello Dolly. Now, I like a musical. I'm not as much, a lot more than the next man, especially man, as it turns out. So I think he's a big fan of music and the arts, and he's kind of straying beyond what is acceptable for a robot to be. And in the same way, I've kind of taken a love for Sondheim beyond what many consider socially acceptable, and it's a solid 90% of all my conversational throughput at this point. And lastly, space. There's a big space bit.
There's a big space
He
theme.
dances around in space, and I mean, what's better than that?
Not a lot.
Nothing.
Not a lot. No, that was good.
Yeah? I think I made a good
was
case
going to
for
pick
it.
him just because he's shorter than the others and he's a robot.
Yeah.
But you
I
went deep.
sold some
Yeah.
extra elements.
Yeah. I have next gone for a bit more of an out there choice.
Okay. Was that a little hint? It's not Quasimodo.
No,
out there
that wasn't a
being his
Disney.
Okay.
No. And I've gone for Gibbs from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. Okay. Now remind viewers, listeners, which one Gibbs is, preferably with an impression.
I shan't be doing the impression. I knew that you were going to ask for it, so thank you. Gibbs is the guy. We first meet him in the first Pirates of the Caribbean when Jack Sparrow wakes him up by throwing a bucket of water over him, and he's sleeping with the pigs.
Okay. That was in Pirates of the Caribbean 1. Pirate of the Caribbean was its
Pirates
full
of the
title.
Caribbean: Curse of the Black Stone.
Yeah, the big black stone.
And I like Gibbs because he was at some point like a commander in the Navy.
Right, and at what point were you a commander in...
I wasn't, but here's the thing: is that like Gibbs was a man with a lot of potential, and people probably thought, oh, he's on his way, he's going to fulfill that. But then what he did was he thought, I would rather be a criminal or drunk.
Oh, okay, so it's the choice.
He was like, nah, fuck this. Also, very anti-establishment, doesn't like the army,
That's
any
fair.
of that. So yeah, but he's a good friend he's not always, the most competent.
Yeah, but
or
his
the
heart's
best.
in the right place.
Heart's in the right place. He'll do what he can for you. But, as soon as he's clocked off, which is as soon as he can clock off,
straight on the
he
run.
is down the tavern.
Yo ho ho.
If he ends up in the mud, so be it. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, he'll hug that pig tight, won't he? And,
exactly.
And squeeze it into tomorrow.
And he's seemingly kind of like invincible, even though, the amount of bullshit that he puts in
Does he
himself.
turn into one of the Skelly pirates or no?
No, because he's a good guy.
Okay.
He's a good guy. And, he rounds up that motley crew that includes the guy with no tongue.
Oh, gosh, no tongue.
Yeah.
Silent Sam.
That's him.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just generally like quite friendly, bit of a laugh.
Now, I've got a quick question.
Okay.
I think it will be quite revealing that you've gone for a character that literally no one remembers from the story. Now, what do you think that says about your kind of self-esteem?
Well, we can all go and say, oh yeah, my Disney 4 includes Hercules.
Yeah.
Because, I think I'm really nice.
Mr. Incredible.
Something like that. But really, I think that those characters tend to be the least relatable in a way because they're supposed to be heroic and therefore stand above us. And actually, if we want to find, where we are genuinely going to relate, we have to look behind those characters. In the kind of,
not even the G list.
Yeah, well, in terms of celebrity, maybe.
Yeah, and like plot.
But Kevin O'Malley's
standing.
all right. He's had a decent enough career.
But you can't have the actor as well.
No. But I'm saying, G list. It sound like
no, but the character.
he's a name in the cast before the whole cast list goes up. So you're like, that's all right then. You're doing all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's a sort of stalwart. Okay. And I like him for that.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
No, not at all. Yeah.
My next one is Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Now that's interesting.
Why?
You'll come to see.
Okay, interesting. Okay. I've put this is probably the one that actually is.
I have you down as the 3 of spades.
God, the 3. I would have thought 4, but 3 makes more sense in hindsight.
Because it's odd.
I've always related to Alice from the book Alice in Wonderland because she's this really odd, but for me very relatable mix of hyper cautious, but also just very impulsive. If she sees a bottle labelled "drink me," there's no second thought. She's going to down it. She goes through a lot, but I've just found the way her character.
If someone offered her a kebab, she'd be like, "What is in it?
Come on, let me see how much of my recommended salt allowance is this." She's so prissy. It's great. No, I always found the character in both the book and the film, which I think captures her quite well, is this weird, she's sort of doesn't think very logically, but at the same time there's a very clear internal logic to it. I suppose it's that she doesn't think
that's kind of the point.
The same way as she doesn't think the same way as lots of the other people in the story. Like, she doesn't have many clear objectives and wants as a character, other than a very broad find out what the fuck this is all about.
Yeah.
And I like the way she kind of careers through all these mad scenarios, and they kind of just wash off her, which obviously in the full narrative is partly because it's a dream. But there's something about that dream-like state implanted into the real world that I think I can identify with.
See, I think that, I looking at it now can see this because I presume that you look at the world with the same kind of confusion with which Alice does, and that in turn the world looks at you with the same kind of confusion that the inhabitants of Wonderland look at Alice. When you see us just picking up hot dogs and eating them, you're there like, but why aren't they using cutlery? And, we're here going, well, you don't need a fork to eat a hot dog, Alice.
Good work, slamming Edwin straight in.
Look, you asked for the Gibbs, but I haven't got it in me.
You've got Will on tap. Remember that time we recorded 3.5 hours? Declan just spat beer. We started recording a thing we were going to put up on our Patreon, maybe,
Holy
or
shit.
just release.
And
was
in
a
the
playthrough
end,
of
deleted. Well, we didn't even get a chance to
It was
record.
a playthrough of a game that we'd been told fit into that category, a bit like Pets
Not
Pop.
we, you. You'd been told by
also-
the internet.
Yeah, but by like reputable internet sources was one of those like, oh, you've got like, don't read too much about it, just play it. It's going to be mental. The implication I expected was you'd start, it seems normal, and then, unease.
Sorry, you avoided the fact it was called Doki Doki Literature Club.
Now that should have been our first clue. Declan and I sat at this desk for, no joke, like over 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. I think it was 3 hours. I think it was 3 hours. Yeah.
We decided that the game was so boring, but the only thing we could do to kind of entertain ourselves and any future people who were going to watch it, spoiler, it vanished.
No one.
Because the recording got fucked and we wouldn't have released it anyway.
Yeah.
Was we gave all this cast of dull, hypersexualized teenage characters, like odd voices, and one of Declan's was the Ed Wynn voice, which after hour 3...
For some reason, this character spoke at least 3 times as much as anyone else. And I just don't have it in me.
No,
and you're just in hour 3, we're like, well, why don't you come and listen to the book? Please.
It gives you a renewed respect for how Ed did it himself then.
Well, yeah, but I think
had
that
to
just
live with
was
it.
his voice.
God, what a powerhouse. So anyway, that's
Imagine if
Dialis.
that was your voice.
I wouldn't speak.
Like, what's the worst situation?
How about
Seduction's
having
bad.
no, having to be on trial for something.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking if someone's arresting you.
Yeah.
Often no.
Especially if it's like for a deviance
Yeah.
of any sort. Like,
What are you doing round this school at
what
night,
are you doing with those
Ed?
mirrors on your shoes,
I
Mr.
swear
Wayne?
it's not what you look.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my second one.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Um,
Give us number 2.
number 3 for
Number
me.
3, you're right.
Yeah, I've gone with Thomas O'Malley.
O'Malley the Alley Cat.
That's
Give
him.
us his full name, why don't you?
Abraham DeLacy,
Absolutely.
Giuseppe Casey, Thomas O'Malley.
O'Malley.
O'Malley the Alley Cat.
Nice. I was just checking because if you didn't know that, I would have disqualified
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously.
that element from the list.
Now, voiced by the incredible, inimitable
Phil.
Phil Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah, did that great song about
My grandma
being
is
his
my
own-
wife. I'm my own cousin's dad. It's very, very strange. I'd link to it, but it's honestly best that you don't find out about it.
It's called He's
confusing.
His Own Grandpa.
Yeah.
But the best bit about it is just Phil has all these, and it's a thing that's seemingly gone from songs now. Just these moments where a chorus is singing, and he just sort of chats over it with
just
these
makes
one
it up.
lines. One of them, like the chorus has this refrain, go, he's his own grandpa, and he like comes in over the top, and one of them it's like he's his own grandpa. You're gonna love it. He's his own grandpa. Fun in the living room.
Oh,
What?
wow, Phil.
Phil?
That's explicit.
As if the song wasn't on the nose enough. But yeah, I like O'Malley.
He's got a swagger to him,
He has.
but it's a swagger that crumbles into a relatability quite quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I think that part of it is how I define myself in relation to my girlfriend, who
is a cat.
well, yeah,
Now that's
and
a
a
key.
really posh one.
A really posh French cat.
No, who likes things to be nice and likes things to be particular.
Yeah.
Has a kind of very distinct idea of her own style and the way that she would like things to be, and kind of like a standard. She's not like a prude or a priss in any way, but like has always really loved kind of design and fashion and things like that. And I have absolutely no time for either.
joking.
I just don't
You
care.
hide it well.
I absolutely could not care less. And so, you know,
But they
that
made it
kind
work,
of,
didn't they,
that kind
those
of rough
cats?
and the smooth, you know. And they did, and they got on because of it, not in spite of it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think of that.
They balance each other.
Also, she calls me Thomas O'Malley all the time.
Oh, well,
Which
that's-
the thing is that, you know, like that kind of ginger.
Of
street
course, he's got
cat.
that as well.
Yeah,
So did you
exactly.
pick yours almost exclusively based on your own
No,
hair colour?
no, not really.
But it was a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, he likes jazz,
Oh, he fucking loves it.
loves a dance.
Yeah, that's true.
He walks along the street singing.
Yeah, that's cool. He's
I do that as
stressed,
well.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Hangs out by the river with those geese.
I'm always down because
I
we
always have
went to
pull you back.
university in
I'm like,
York.
we've got to record, and he's like, 5 more minutes, just chatting away. Really haunting it is. Down on all fours.
you know, he knows the cool places in town to go.
And you know.
I've been to the
local
Chandos.
But they have a jazz night.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just very poor.
I like Thomas O'Malley. I think he's an all-round reasonable guy / cat.
I think that's fair.
But yeah, he's good. Give us your third.
Here's my third for you. You may know him from the film of the same name. It's Peter Pan. Peter Pan.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
Here it is.
I feel like you've betrayed too much.
He's not keen on aging. That was it.
Yeah, I presume
That's
that
the
was.
main one. But also he flies about. He likes London. That's all. Likes island life, and I could get into that.
He also tries to recruit young girls to be his mum. Now, is that...
Now, tutoring has been riddled with problems for me. And some people, they say, you're going to have to move on from this house. And I say, Mum!
Come on!
Come on, 15-year-old mum. No, that part obviously doesn't apply.
No.
I think,
I've
I've never read Peter Pan. Are the issues about his parentage explained? Is he an orphan?
I don't know.
Because
I haven't read it either.
In hindsight, very strange.
It's really like not okay that he just kind of steals these kids and gets this 9-year-old girl to be everyone's mum.
Yeah, I think she's a bit older than that.
But she's not 15
12,
like you said to try and make yourself feel better.
But I don't have
About
to feel
choosing
better
the
or worse
character
because I've never done
with
anything
whom you've
myself.
aligned yourself.
He's a big fan of fighting crocs.
He doesn't fight the croc. He fights
Indirectly fights the croc because he's a strategist.
He's an ally of
He sets the croc and the hook against each other.
Exactly, so the croc's on his side.
Yeah, okay, fine. He's a big fan of crocs.
You're an ally to crocodiles.
In fact, he's an alligator.
You've changed
isn't he?
your mind.
Yeah, no, very odd, isn't it? That whole subplot about because
Well,
are we
it's
to
not a
believe?
subplot.
Are we
It's
to?
not that's like the main plot.
It's the way that Peter Pan works. Is he just a kid, or is he an adult mind in the body of a kid? Because if it's the second one, he's a freak and he needs to be arrested, like sooner rather than later.
if-
He gets with Wendy, doesn't he?
Yeah, sort of.
Oh,
but
have him
also,
arrested.
But also, he is a kid. But let's not forget, he is a kid only in the sense that he's in a kid's body.
Yeah,
he has
that's what I
seemingly
mean.
been alive forever.
That's what I was just asking.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant is he an adult?
No,
with
I'm
a
saying
kid's mindset.
I'm saying his mind has evolved.
Oh
into
God,
adulthood.
yeah, no, he's like probably
But
hundreds
he's
of
quite
years old.
stupid though. Still,
Yeah, well, I mean, you would be.
I think what it is he's one of those like stuck in a moment spirits. You know, like when you run over that girl from the advert. If you hit me at 30 miles an hour, and she turns into that ghost of that age.
So that ghost of the Queen.
Yeah. Ooh, Philip. Yeah, that sort of ghost. But if you know how ghosts stay at a certain age, like
Yeah.
Nearly Headless Nick wasn't 12 when his head nearly got chopped.
No.
So I'm thinking Peter Pan must be a kind of incarnation of adolescent childhood or something like that. And so I guess it's the idea of being stuck. So if I could Peter Pan myself at this age, I'd be into that.
Okay,
I wouldn't
but
want to do it
what
at
about,
Peter Pan's age. Cause
what
that's a
about
really
the
shit
little
age.
ghost girl who's the ghost of Christmas past?
Oh, yeah.
In A Christmas Carol.
She's a classic ghost.
But she is enormously wise because of her time. Like she has grown
I guess
up.
that'd be preferable in a way.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that's what Peter Pan probably is.
But he doesn't give the appearance of any wisdom.
But he's not wise.
Right.
He's just a creep.
Okay, so his
what I'm
wisdom is
saying.
in the form of creeping.
So you are a predator.
No, I don't think so. I think the specific aspect is just the age.
He doesn't want to grow up.
I can definitely.
But he doesn't want his girlfriends to grow up either.
He wants everyone to be locked in the time bubble, like Prince of Persia.
Really, what you wanted was to be Bernard from Bernard's Watch.
I tell you
but
what.
Disney didn't make it.
Let's remind ourselves about Bernard, the boy who stopped time to do his shopping
and started
unpauses it to
again.
pay. I want nothing to do with Bernard. And
Shall I
want
give you
a
my
bit less
last
to do
one?
with Peter than I did before, if I'm honest. You've really sold him in a bad light.
Yeah, look,
I think there's a lot of good in Peter Pan's heart.
yeah,
He's just, he's stuck
he's
there.
just also a paedophile. You know. Sometimes that's the rub of the green. My last one I've gone for is Stitch
from
the eponymous.
Is that from
monster
Seven?
from
Lilo
Lilo and
and
Stitch.
Yeah, okay.
Because
Uh-huh.
he's frankly something of a monster,
Well, he is a monster,
but
an alien monster.
he's really sweet. Really, if he gets a chance,
yeah, if
he's
you can
nice.
see past,
But he does
the
have a
monstrous
propensity
exterior.
to just kind of break shit as well.
Yeah.
And that's something to which I can relate, you know.
Yeah.
He's got those feelings.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's like built into him.
Uh-huh.
He didn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be shouting and breaking stuff and eating little toy
And
trucks.
a purple little freak.
No,
But that's just the luck of the draw.
blue.
Blue.
He is blue.
Yeah, he is blue.
He didn't want that, but that's what he is. And sometimes it comes through, but, you know, he learns and he wants to be better.
He's quite powerful as well, isn't he?
Hugely.
Once he can kind of get his... Once you can align your goals with Stitch's, you're going to make progress quite significantly.
And you know, let's not be around the bush. He makes some mistakes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. And in achieving his goals, he does do some stuff like blow up a petrol truck.
Now, yeah, that's an overlooked in terms of the consequences.
Yeah, especially on a small, largely plant-based island like Hawaii.
Yeah, where they probably didn't get another shipment forever.
No,
I think
and
the
also-
island sank and burnt.
And that would probably burn the whole thing down.
That
yeah.
island became the volcano from the little short film before, I want to say, Up. Do you remember where it's I Lava You?
I thought that one was later.
Yeah, it
because
might
I think
be
I saw
later.
that one in the cinema. Wasn't that for like...
Inside Out? No,
Oh,
that
yeah, I think it might have been
could have been.
Inside Out.
Can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, I think it was Inside Out. Yeah, so, you know, he's not denying that he's done, you know, wrong,
Uh-huh.
but it's part of a steep learning curve.
That's good. I think
And he's
that's
going
a
to
good
try
one.
and do better.
That's good. Stitch is a character... I don't think Disney expected him to be as popular as he was.
No.
Because he's not been in anything since, really, apart from the sequel that not many people saw.
No.
Is there a
Rightly
TV
so.
series of Stitch?
Yeah, the TV series, the Disney show like series that was on like Toonatic or whatever on Saturday mornings was really good. The idea was that he had like all the other, because he's Experiment 626.
Yeah.
So the idea was that they had all the others and they had like different special abilities like Pokemon.
Is one of them just a big blob,
No.
perchance?
No.
Oh, okay.
Good guess.
Well, I just wanted to see if that had been one of the experiments. Was like, what?
Experiment 1.
What if there was a big blob?
Experiment 1 was just a puddle with some eyes.
Oh, well done us. Here's my last one.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the reasons first, I think.
Okay.
This character is friendly, if often reserved, at least initially. He's optimistic, and he gets, you know, he's a fighter, I think, at the end of the day. Situations don't always work out for him initially, but he turns them to his advantage with a kind of positive mindset. He's good at escaping from things.
Good at escape.
And most of all, he is centrally important to everything that could and will be discussed. It's the man himself, Mickey
Of
the
course it
Mouse.
was.
What do you think? You're right, it's done. Correct.
I think again you've let slip more than you meant to there
Absolutely not.
by considering yourself the pinnacle and central, you know, dare we say it, probably deity of the franchise.
Absolutely.
Do you think that you've got as weak a voice?
Sure. Hello, guys. I swear. Do you know that was Walting originally?
Yeah.
So if you listen to the old ones, you can hear him like just wheezing a bit towards the end of an episode. Holy fuck.
I swear.
Very upsetting.
So do you think of yourself as calamitous as Mickey?
I
often
don't
is?
find him to be calamitous so much as I think it's because he inhabits a cartoon world. Calamity is going to happen. And I think he's kind of at peace with that, in the same way that I'm at peace with the calamity of my world, which
Is mortality.
can include things like mortality, can include things like being expected to pick up a crusty, soggy donut with your hands. Like, that's the kind of calamity I'm facing.
So
That's just a sidestep from what Mickey faces with that giant cat.
So what about like Mickey has various incarnations? So is that you bringing to life your various skins that you wear?
Yeah, absolutely. Because Mickey, he's adept at blending in. Just last month, the month before, when I was at Disney World, I bumped into Mickey a few times.
And you stole his head.
And I stole that head and ran for the hills. And I'm not allowed back in America, but it was worth it. No, well, over the course of the holiday, I was there for 2 weeks, and I must admit, I didn't meet, actually I met Mickey once, but I saw Mickey just about the place a few times, and I saw a classic.
You just
Mickey.
do a little like casual nod.
How's it going? You do a little peace out to the Mickey,
Yeah.
to the Mixter, we call him.
You better not.
But I saw him as classic Mickey. I saw him as a Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey. I saw him as a kind of farmer Mickey when he came round while I was eating for a chat.
That is horrible.
It was interesting. He was like a sort of Harvest Mouse vibe. And I really appreciate and admire the way he's just willing to pull on that skin and then live that life in the moment. I think that's very admirable.
Okay, and I just have one last question,
Uh-huh.
which probably determines how okay I am with this. If you are Mickey, does that make this your House of Mouse?
It sure does.
Oh, okay. Well,
welcome aboard.
I can do that. So now we come to the meat of things.
Yes, absolutely.
What we've picked for each other. Now,
We can alternate again.
yeah, I think we'll alternate again. Have you heard any from mine that cross over with yours?
No.
I can say the same.
Okay.
Although it's interesting because I had a short list. Shall I tell you the ones that didn't quite make it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, ones that didn't quite make it were Maleficent.
Well, I can see why, because that one's obviously very wrong. Because we have nothing in common as characters.
Yeah, if you want. Woody.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. He's kind of a bit full of himself.
Yeah.
I can
Wally.
see that. String in his back as well.
Yeah.
And that's a constant burden.
Wally. We said that
course.
one already. Owl from Winnie the Pooh. And Captain Amelia from Treasure Planet.
Oh, I can't remember a thing about Captain Amelia from
Voiced
Treasure
by
Planet.
Emma Thompson.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm on board.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
She's
a total Nazi voiced by Emma Thompson.
So, do you want to go first or shall I?
Yeah. So I thought when I was doing yours, I'll just give you a bit of the rationale first.
Okay.
I thought, there's a chance here to be mean and to, I could have given you the very stupid, possibly developmentally challenged hyena from The Lion King as a joke. I did toy with giving you just whatever the most offensive one from Song of the South is.
Yeah. I think we both considered that.
And then, as we both said, Monstro the Whale as well. And I thought, I'm going to write those off. I'm going to go for ones that have an element of humour to them, because that's the remit of the show, but also are defensible in some particular aspect. So in the same way that I'm latching on to Peter Pan's fear of aging, but not the bit where he wants to kidnap children. And dogs, and perhaps, now that I think about it, maybe shrink them down into fairy form.
Enslave them.
Because that's freakish, and he needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
In the same way, I think there's elements here that we can clutch onto.
Okay.
The first one is from Toy Story. Oh, I should tell you as well, I've tried to vary my sources. I've gone Pixar, classic, and one of the Fab Five.
Wow.
It's from Toy Story. You'll remember him. He's pink. He is voiced by Ratzenberger, and it's Ham.
I would take Ham.
Yeah.
I like Ham.
And the reason I went for it is that he's someone who is... he's in the core group of the Toy Story. When they have a mission, he's there.
But he's
and
no
they
one's
rely on him.
favourite.
It's not that so much. He's also indispensable for Andy because he holds his funds very literally.
Yeah, I don't...
He's a real banker.
That's not a place where we cross over.
But his involvement is from the perspective of cynicism, I think. He's the one who is, when they're trying to cross the road, he's bemoaning the plan, but he will get stuck into it eventually.
Yeah.
And I think it's that combination of involved but sideways glance.
You need that voice,
cynicism.
don't you?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they might have gone across the road without cones.
Yeah, and then they'd all be flat as fuck.
Yeah, or they'd have exposed the living toy world.
Oh, God, can you imagine
At
people
large.
freaking out about
Yeah,
that?
they'd have burnt all the toys.
So that's my first one.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I thought that was decent.
I've gone for someone that we mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah?
This character is sassy.
Oh yeah, that's me.
His character's got strength, but they do hide a bit behind that strength.
Oh.
They hide a bit behind that front.
Okay.
And there's a there's a bit of an emotional wall there.
Yeah.
But once you breach it, it's all the more worth it.
Okay.
Weak ankles.
Right.
Yeah. But pretty stylish.
Okay.
It's Meg.
It's Meg! Yes! The hottest Disney there is.
Exactly. It was quite interesting as a whole that when I went through all of the Disney films, I'd say a good 80% of the characters I picked out for you were women. I don't know what you want to do with that.
No, well, I'll tuck it away, file it under I for important as fuck. Important / ignorable.
But yeah, this I figured, start with a strong one.
Yeah.
Start with one I know that you'll like.
Yeah,
and to be
I
fair,
think
most of mine are pretty good for you,
That's
really.
good.
I was going to be mean. I could have said Timon. I was thinking Timon at one point.
That'd be true.
But-
I don't think I've got the extroverted confidence of Timon.
No, you have when you want it.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like Timon's always on.
Yeah, he's always
don't
He's putting it out there, isn't he?
Unless, like, they're gearing up to a sequel where, like, Timon, when the laughter stops. And it's just, like, Timon working through some serious
It's
issues.
just Nathan Lane in like face paint, just crying.
That'd be so cool. Under one spotlight, like a Beckett play. In a trash can as well.
Yeah.
That would be good. Okay, I can take that one. She's got a lovely voice as well, so thanks for that. Your next one is he's, let's be honest, not a human, but then neither was Ham. He's certainly more alive in the traditional sense. He does dwell in quite different living conditions to your own. And the accent is one I don't want you to think of attempting.
My
It's
God.
Sebastian from The Little Mermaid.
And now, why have you gone for Sebastian?
Sebastian is dependable. Sebastian is very much a kind of right-hand man figure. There is, of course, the colour coordination, which I've realised is something you've latched onto intensely.
He's a seductor.
He is. He's charming.
As well as a conductor.
He also is good at giving advice, and he is not afraid to do so in a very orchestrated song fashion.
Yeah.
I guess the advice usually pertains to whether or not you should live under the sea. But I think as a sounding board, Sebastian's always going to be there to bounce ideas off.
He is. Although, I mean, my only objection really to Sebastian is that he is a bit of a rule-following bitch.
Well, you would be as well if King Triton himself was like gazing at you every few minutes. Like, you're not going to... He's got a big trident.
Yeah, he does have that.
What are you going to do? Argue with him?
Well, other characters do.
How did it work out for Ursula? She got pierced.
Yeah, but not by Triton.
Yeah, by his trident. I know,
No,
by the boat.
by the boat.
Yeah. No, but then Triton's there to kind of be like,
She properly fucks him over. She turns him into a weed.
oh, God, you're right. She does.
Yeah. And, Ariel ends up... I realise I've said
You've
her name
already
like
adopted.
Sebastian.
There we go.
Ariel. Her name is Ariel. Ariel ends up married and happy.
Yeah, but I think that's
So the
because
characters
of the
who
advice.
disagree end up better than the ones who don't. Because Sebastian, he's still a little bitch slave, isn't he? He's basically
He's not.
Triton's
The whole
tiny
song
red
is
gimp.
the whole song is about how freeing it is under the sea.
But it's not.
No, but
it's
it is
a literal
quite freeing, because all the
No.
other mermaids are fine.
It's an autocracy.
But what I think the message is not that Sebastian's wrong. It's that not the nuanced message is that not all advice applies to all people. And Ariel, though the advice applies broadly to mer people, Ariel was the
maybe
exception.
Under the Sea is the chance for his actual message of revolution about the freedom the sea could have without Triton.
Yeah, so he's mobilising all those prole fish
Yeah.
to really get their groove on.
You're saying he's a sort of Trotsky
Yes.
figure.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Cool,
we
we
should
spun
take
it
that.
round.
Yeah. Your second one.
Uh-huh.
Now, not human,
Okay, that's fine.
but has lived in conditions that you some you'd be all right with, some you would despise.
Right, not thriving.
No.
Okay.
You share a lot of interests.
That's good.
You share a lot of heritage.
Ah,
You share a kind of size,
okay.
not literally,
Uh-huh.
but just figuratively.
Okay.
It's Remy the Rat
Oh, I love Remy the
from
Rat.
Ratatouille.
He's a hell of a chef.
He
let me
can
tell you.
cook, yeah.
He can cook like no
And the
other
thing that he
man.
cooks better than anything else is the eponymous Ratatouille.
Oh, yeah, no, the Ratatouille.
Yeah, because that's his name, Remy Ratatouille, isn't it?
As far as I know, that
Yeah,
is
that
canon.
is canon, yeah.
Yeah. Middle name of the.
Yeah, so he cooks.
Yeah, he's French.
Yeah. He, to be fair,
He's a dreamer.
he is a dreamer. He's an optimist.
Yeah. And he dares to see beyond what life has thrown his way.
Yeah, and he also hallucinates.
He's a real user
He
of
hallucinates his
people.
heroes talking to him, and I have always assumed that
yes,
that's
I do.
definitely something you do. And you know, I think that one of the important messages of the film is that he, and this is a bit of advice for you here,
Okay, go on.
as well
Let
as
me
a
just
sort
turn
of
side
filmic
on.
lesson, is that he spends his whole life leading up to the events of the film, and for the first half of the film at least, just trying to emulate
Yes.
his hero. He just
Gusteau.
wants to be Gusteau.
Yeah, he wants to be the new Gusteau.
Yeah, and really, it's when he embraces Remy
Yeah.
that he actually flies.
You're right. I
That
am
you're-
better than
You're
Sondheim.
not going to be Sondheim, so why not just be Remy?
Yes, you're right.
You're not going to be Sondheim, so why not try
so
being
glad
a
that
cooking
the new
rat?
Buzz is better than Sondheim Bernier d'Or. That's really
Yeah.
good to hear. Yeah, I can get on board with that. I like Remy, and I really like that film. Here's your next one. See what you make of this.
Numero uno three.
Here's your Fab Five member as well. It's Donald Duck. Now, Donald Duck,
Wow.
he is. I've given you prestige
the one with
because,
the
like
most
I say,
incredible speech impediment.
that wasn't the angle I was going for. But now
Never
that you
wears
mention it-
pants.
Again, now that you bring it up, something to work on.
Big nose.
So he's up there. He's a Disney legend.
He is.
He's alongside Mickey the Mouse,
Yeah.
as
Often
he's
literally.
heralded. Yeah, exactly. Donald is someone to whom events happen. He's not always the manipulator of his own destiny, and not always does fate adhere to his design, but very seldom does Donald not make the best out of it. He can be in the midst of trying to perform Cinemagique, the show in Disneyland Paris that's recently gone, that I think he was in, but I might be confusing it with PhilharMagic, where he's trying to control all these instruments with the sorcerer's hat. He's not very good at it, fundamentally, but
I can't play instruments either, so
no, that was a big one for me.
yeah.
I thought, which
Musically
of
inept.
these creatures is the freakiest on the guitar with his fins? No, ducks don't have those.
Wings.
Bird arms, yeah, barms. Yeah, he's someone who there's a certain chaos around him, but he's kind of flying through it. I don't believe he can fly, or at least I've never seen it. Apart from out of a cannon, which he does at the end of PhilharMagic, into the wall behind you. And I see that very much as your role in life. Thoughts?
I'm going to give as few as I can. But I've always found Donald, if somewhat sulky, to be generally sexy, generally lovable.
Yeah, he is.
And,
Everyone likes
and well-meaning. So, yeah, I'll take it. Although I do have to say, and I mean, this may be sacrilege in front of you, that I consider Daffy Duck
the superior duck.
superior duck to Donald.
Okay.
I think
won't offer
I
an opinion on
relate
that.
more to Daffy Duck as well, because he's
But maybe
a miserable
and get
cunt.
this, maybe Donald does as well. And that's
Yeah.
where I've swung
That
it
could
back
be
round.
it. I'm gonna spice things up. I've got a human.
Oh, okay. So that's
Now-
already a tip.
Now, this person, they like things how they like things.
Okay.
And that, I feel, is really the core of why I chose this character. There are a few Disney characters on the line there. They like to have a song,
Yeah.
but they like their song to be right.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
none of this fucking about. If they're going to get involved, it's got to be right. They've got principles. They like to stick to these principles. But at the same time, they're ultimately very willing to learn.
Okay.
And sometimes, it might take a while. It's not always an overnight process. But at the end of the day, they'll be there.
Okay.
And it's Mr. Banks.
Oh, Mr. Banks. God, he loved that bank, didn't he, that he worked? No, he kind of didn't. He was actually very unhappy.
You see, he worked there. Partly, probably sort of nominative determinism.
He was doing it for the kids.
Exactly.
It's like that "Do It For Her" Simpsons thing.
He did join in on that Fidelity Fiduciary song.
Yes, but I think that was just because
Railways Through Africa.
It was just because of the music.
How do you feel about that kind of
Railways Through
colonial
Africa?
element to his?
Well, I guess it's not aged well.
What about his anti-suffrage
No,
stance?
that's where I jump in. Banksy, old
It
chap.
was grand to be an Englishman in 1910.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
King Edward was on the throne.
It's
it was
the age of men. No, not women, just men.
Just men.
And that was a simpler time.
Are you... Well, because he's the lord of his
I
castle.
was joking, okay.
He's the lord of his castle.
Yeah.
The sovereign, the liege.
Yeah. And you see me as lieutenant.
Well, you're lieutenant.
Oh, God, it is the same. And our neighbour, Fulcrum, lives on a big boat thing.
Oh, yeah, and he's
Won't
always
stop
firing that cannon.
cannons. God, it's helpful to when you need to know the time, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think Mr. Banks... Have you seen Saving Mr. Banks?
Yes.
I like that film. It's kind of saccharine, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. I think he's got a depth to him.
The main thing that I liked about Saving Mr. Banks is knowing how much P.L. Travers probably would have hated it.
Yeah. Wow, that clip at the end of her.
Where she's
you watch
being
that whole
that
film and you're like,
total
she can't be
horrid
that dreadful.
crone.
And then,
Turns out she was worse.
yeah, they've dialed it back. She was just like objecting to every possible thing. Like, oh, you can't have that chair. Come on, PL. If that is even your name. Dreadful idiot. Okay, I'll take it. Here's your last one.
Okay.
I think you're going to like it. Now, partly I've brought this up so we can explain something that I think needs to be thrown out into the world to see if people are able to latch onto it at all.
Okay.
But also, I've chosen this guy for...
That sounds like what the Unabomber thought of his own manifesto.
I'm going to send it out. See, just send your feedback. tass@shame.unibomb. This guy, he's got an authority about him. Something of a kind of de facto authority. Where
What about the fact, sorry, just cutting in again, that the Unabomber himself will have had a postman?
What about it?
Well, because that was his thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sent bombs through the post.
Uh-huh.
And if you were the Unabomber's postman, you feel like you were kind of giving him more than he deserved.
Yeah, that's true, actually. You'd want to pay extra. You want to be paid extra.
Do you think he hated his postman?
I think he always sent second class.
Never tipped at Christmas.
Not a chance. So this guy has, like I say, a kind of latent de facto authority.
Okay.
He's got presence, shall we say. He has a friendly...
It's Monstro the whale. This is friendly avuncular way of swallowing characters. Sneezing them back out again.
Yeah, he's a charmer when he needs to be. He can turn it on. However, alongside that, there's a capacity for what I'm going to call extreme opportunism. He is someone who, if he sees a chance, even, there's a moral dubiousness here. He's not going to hold back. Okay. He's willing, I guess, to do what it takes in his own worldview. It's just that for some of us that wouldn't necessarily align, it's Henry J. Waternoose from Monsters, Inc.
I knew Waternoose was going to come up.
I mean, he had to, didn't he?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would like to think, because the thrust of most of the villainous characters that we've chosen, well, that I chose for myself, or that you chose for me, the thrust has been that there was, at heart, a kind of well-meaning element there. But Waternoose is just a bit of a dick.
But he's powering a whole city.
Yeah, but he probably knows that he could do it better.
But maybe, we never get to delve into the full...
economic ideologies.
And I think
Monsters,
Waternoose is a pragmatist.
Yeah.
And, the ideology of Sully and Mike here being, let's not just scare kids all the time for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
It's clashed in a big way with his... He needs to, they're being depended on by millions of monsters across Monstropolis.
What I object to is that he has an unwillingness to see another point of view. He doesn't ever kind of listen to the fact that we could not steal this small girl from her home and scare the shit out of her.
Which is something that you're...
Strap her into an absolute scream hose.
Yeah.
Or scream hoover.
Yes, that's more accurate. A scream Dyson.
But I suppose you're right. Does have that kind of authority. He's got a sense of pride,
I think
loyalty
he's quite
to the
single-minded.
company and to his friends.
And to his legacy.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
part of something bigger than himself, which is
Yeah.
the upkeep of a screen factory.
But he is ultimately, I think, a slave to
crab
capitalism
spider freak.
and also a spider crab.
Yeah,
freak.
now what about when he runs up that wall?
Now,
Is that something
you
you
know?
can
The only
see
way
yourself-
that could be perhaps more horrid is if
Now just go with me here, guys. If you were to swap, if you just reach in with a big hand and pluck him out of that film, and at the same time, maybe with your other hand, you're non-dominant, you're non-dom, we call them, you reach into, I don't know, Othello, The Matrix, any of the three matrices, as I believe they
is
like
the
to be
plural,
known,
yeah.
and you plucked out Lawrence Fishburne. Now, you're going to swap them very quickly and without thinking too much about the consequences, and then press play, and all of a sudden you've got Morpheus, or, any...
indeed every single Lawrence Fishburne character.
the pure Fishburne element, and now he's pursuing Sully and Mike, and he's running up the side of that wall. How do you feel?
What do you think is the most horrid film then?
The Matrix with Henry Waternoose in it, or Monsters Inc. with Lawrence?
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be so hideous to see one live action character in a purely
Especially
animated
running
film.
up that wall.
Especially, and with Lawrence's physicality, I think it would be quite frightening, because we saw that fight in Hannibal, and
Well-
the man can move. He's packed some bulk behind him.
But what about if we think of that horrible octopus spider crab man
Oh yeah,
as Lawrence Fishburne in Apocalypse Now, using that machine gun to kill a boat full of peasants?
now you'd really wonder what they were trying to say about it.
Yeah.
What were they warning us about? The answer is aliens. Any way you swing it,
I think that
becomes
was
a very different vibe.
really, that's at the heart of all Francis Ford Coppola movies.
Yeah,
The
he was
Godfather was
obsessed
just
with aliens.
one big alien warning.
That's why his voice was so funny, because he was probably being translated
Really
by
fucking odd.
all kinds of alien technology.
think so.
I think we've uncovered a lot there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd rather not be
You
Waternoose,
can't always choose.
but yeah, you're right. Now, your last one
Uh-huh.
is from a film that you yourself picked.
Okay.
It is Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
Now, this character, like many of the characters in Alice in Wonderland,
Fucking
is
mental.
yes, like
So already there's a...
really odd,
Right.
enigmatic,
Okay, I can appreciate an enigmatic character.
here and there.
Yeah, what? So kind of flaky? Or just like drops in and
Well, I
out?
suppose a little bit.
Is it
because
like
you are a
keeps-
bit flaky.
Keeps
sometimes.
their own...
You do
hours?
sometimes just decide you're not going to shit.
Not... You are?
You do sometimes just decide you're not going to stuff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It made it sound like
Not
a
sometimes
constipation
you
issue.
decide. I'm just not. I refuse.
I won't be
I
a slave to
refuse.
my biology anymore.
No, you refuse to go to like events
Yeah.
or parties or things sometimes on a whim.
But it's not
if it's
out
been
of
one of those
malice.
days.
It's
No,
out
well,
of
it's not
like-
with this character either.
So you're saying that it's a character that keeps their own inscrutable timings, and you can't really
Yes.
tell what they're up to.
They are someone that people go to
Okay.
for advice, and you'd probably trust it. But at the
But-
same time, you're always slightly suspicious that it was bullshit, or that it may actually have been more in their favour than yours.
A
maybe.
trick.
Yeah,
Or a
bit
joke,
of a trick.
maybe.
Because you're a bit of a prankster. You like
Yeah,
you
I
like to
can
be
see
in
that.
control, but behind the scenes.
Yes.
And it is, of course, the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, I love that pink lad. That's good. And I
With a
do
very-
love cats as well.
Exactly.
And I was born in Cheshire.
Wow, you're a Cheshire Catman.
Oh, I am. Okay, I'm 100% on board. I
You're
have
on
nothing
board?
more to say. That's just very good and accurate. I love the way he appears. And he loves the moon.
He appears teeth first.
Which is what I always try to do when I enter a room.
Launches his jaw straight in.
Really causes some neck ache
It's how he knocks, and let me tell you, there's no more frightening sound.
than the scraping of molars on hardwood door. I think this has been a very productive exercise.
It has.
I think I've granted you and the listeners a window into both of us. How do
Right.
you feel you've done?
Yeah, I feel as though I've perhaps tried a bit harder than you had. I had a bit more time, you know.
Yeah, that's
mine were a bit more accurate.
Well,
yours, you played for laughs, for cheap laughs, but that.
I think
that's
if
who you
can't
are.
see the Henry J. Waternoose in you, then that only goes to solidify my point.
Well, excuse me while I scuttle out.
Up the wall he's gone. I think we should get out and maybe delay last week in Shame another week. So it's 3 weeks ago in Shame, because, we never said it would be timely Shame.
No.
Although I suppose the title of the original feature did imply that.
There is a sort of inherent temporality to it, but I suppose that's something that's a shame we're willing to play with.
We will. If there's something there, we'll manipulate it into our own frequency.
All right.
Yeah, why not?
Go for it.
It's the end of the show, isn't it? And we like to end the show at That's a Shame with some ways to involve yourself, because this is a dialogue.
I don't think we do that on the Wednesdays anymore, do we?
I think we should now.
You think we should?
I think after that, people are going to be gagging to provide feedback on just how Waternoose-esque you are, and all sorts of other adjacent
What an absolute
things.
great guy
you are.
Wow, definitely editing that. Thanks.
You don't get to edit
I'm
that.
going to.
Don't you dare.
Certainly
If people
have.
want to get in touch, then they may email TAS at shame.city, or alternatively, they can go to the website shame.city, and then after shame.city, put a little slash,
Yeah.
then you type CONTACT.
Oh.
Contact. Shame.city/contact.
For the super cons, isn't it? Contact.
Yep, and it will just slide straight in, slither in like Car the Snake, another one I considered for you.
Good choice.
Hypnotic,
Yeah.
but a creepy little slave.
Ultimately a betrayer of principles. Of a hat.
But nice eyes.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can find us on Twitter. I suppose we should probably post some of these Disney 4s.
Yeah, we should
on the
do.
old
I'm going to
Twitter.
find the four most horrific versions of all these characters. It's going to be like Henry
like
Watson
those-
in a freeze frame.
Or those like artists who do Pokemon but as actual monsters. I'm going to
Let's
find
not
some
call
of
them
those.
artists. Call them what they are.
War
Perfect.
criminals.
There's a reason it's called deviant art, and I think it speaks for itself.
Well, it should be right up your street, Peter.
Absolutely not.
Yes, so you can find the show on Twitter at That's a Shamecast. I think we should post as well what we've decided to leave out, which was our worst 4.
Oh yeah. we
What's
didn't do
the
that. What would be the worst person? The worst person alive. What 4 would they have?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we'll pop some of those up either on at That's a Shamecast for the show,
Yeah.
or at DE Delane for myself, at Isaac BD for Isaac.
Yeah.
You can find us on Patreon if you have a couple of dollars to spare. We've been
yeah.
putting out material on
We
there.
have. You're
Putting
getting
stuff out. Imagine that.
For just
Getting your dollars worth.
50 cents an episode. You get to unlock the quickfire shames, which you'll already have. What, 10 of them there already?
Yeah, at least.
Maybe
Yeah,
11.
I think 11.
And another 3 coming this month. That's each and every month, henceforward.
That will be at
And
patreon.com/shamecity.
your support is much appreciated.
Of course it is. We had a review last month,
Last year.
which meant that Isaac didn't have to read out the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've got a new threat. We'll be reading out Ollie's one.
Yeah, over and over and over again.
So if you would like to prevent that, leave us a review this July.
Yes.
Shame.city/review or reviews.
Yeah. We're calling it Say Hi July. And between hi and July, it's brackets in a review.
Okay, yes.
Say hi in a review, July.
Yeah.
That's how you can
It's-
remember
the
it.
inner review is silent, but
Yeah.
definitely important.
Very,
on there.
very
subliminal, I suppose, is how we'd say.
I'd hope so.
And of course, as ever, you can me bomb.
Do it.
Word of
You'll get
mouth
off on it.
is best of mouth.
It certainly is.
In the meantime, until Sunday's episode.
Until then, I've been Isaac. You've been
I've been-
Henry J.
Henry J. Delane.
We'll see you very, very soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, guys!
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities. Oh, Mother Nature nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.